Please note that not everyone should use this caffeinated method. It doesn't follow that everyone should do something just because it is supported by the literature. However, I thought this was really fascinating from the standpoint of fat loss. We will thus dissect this study and the literature. For whatever reason, the International Society of Sports Nutrition has not given much attention to this study. They administered 3 milligrams of caffeine per kilogram of body weight to the patients. That's a respectable sum, isn't it? For me, that would equate to about 280 milligrams of caffeine. That's a respectable sum, isn't it? Now, in contrast to a placebo, they had them take this at either 8 a.m. or 5 p.m., and what they discovered was fascinating. Following caffeine ingestion, there was a 10.7% increase in maximal fat oxidation at 8 o'clock a.m., meaning that individuals who consumed caffeine in the morning burned roughly 10.7% more fat. More fat was oxidized by them. Maximum fat oxidation and V2 max were measured. This is where things become very crazy. The group that had the same amount of caffeine at 5 p.m. saw a 29% increase in maximal fat oxidation. Thus, consuming coffee at 5 o'clock p.m. increased fat burning by nearly 3 times. I understand what you're thinking because I had the same thought. Would I consume caffeine so close to bedtime? Some people are able to put up with it. Of course, you may be one of those people who enjoy drinking coffee at night, having an espresso after supper, and then going to bed. Those individuals do exist, and they have a specific genotype that can cope with that. It has to deal with acid metabolism. There are many diverse things. Alright, that is unimportant. At 5 o'clock in the evening, most people don't want to consume coffee. Therefore, we also need to look at something else before my theory can sort of get into how you would achieve this. A midday caffeine dose was not measured in this study. Now, the reason this is functioning the way it is, at least according to my theory, is because your cortisol levels are slightly, if not significantly, lower when you take a 5 p.m. caffeine dose. In the morning, cortisol levels are high. That's typical. It's a typical morning cortisol spike. Caffeine causes your cortisol levels to rise somewhat. Alright? That cortisol spike is escalating as a result. Cortisol is also not harmful. In fact, cortisol will make hormone-sensitive lipase more active. More fat will be oxidized by you. In any case, cortisol will cause you to burn more fat in the morning. The difference between our baseline without caffeine and with caffeine may therefore be greater in the evening. For instance, to make this make sense, use arbitrary numbers. Assume you have a baseline cortisol level of 10 in the morning. After consuming caffeine, your cortisol level rises to 15. Let's take an example where you have a baseline cortisol level of 5 in the evening, add caffeine, and your cortisol level rises to 15. Although there is a noticeable general improvement, your total cortisol or fat burning is still the same as it was in the morning. Simply put, you're doing it when it wouldn't be as high otherwise. Therefore, I don't think you're burning more fat if you work out in the afternoon. Simply put, you're burning more fat than you may otherwise be, because food enters your system during the course of the day. In the evening, fat oxidation would decrease as a result of all these changes. In the morning, fat oxidation is usually higher. Thus, the rise is just lessened by the caffeine. Nevertheless, it's possible that additional cues are at work. Therefore, it's possible that the body is thinking, oh yeah, cool, because this is such a change to the system. We will burn more fat. A midday dose would be intriguing, as research indicates that the effects of caffeine on sleep are most noticeable after 6 hours. Thus, there are discernible differences in the beginning and duration of sleep when caffeine is consumed 6 hours before to bedtime. Therefore, you should avoid caffeine for at least 6 hours before bed. A huge thank you to Seed Daily Symbiotic for today's video. I've included the seed link below. Thus, the pill contains both a probiotic and a prebiotic. This implies that you will receive a multi-stage delivery. Thus, a capsule is contained within another capsule. Probiotics are intriguing, but seed elevates them to a new level. Thus, multi-stage is obtained. As a result, the initial capsule sort of dissolves before moving on to the next stage of its breakdown. Thus, colonization is possible in the appropriate parts of the digestive system. That is necessary for the bacteria to properly colonize and perform its function. Probiotics have a lot of evidence, but by the time they enter our unfriendly gut biome, which includes hydrochloric acid and other substances, The majority of them have already been denatured and broken down. Thus, seed is really intriguing in that regard. Therefore, you should look into them if you wish to improve your gut health, make dietary adjustments, or simply try to alter your well microbiota in general. That is stated in the first paragraph of the description that appears beneath this video, along with a heartfelt thank you to them for their ongoing support over the years on this channel. What about a midday dose of caffeine? Let's say you want to have some before working out at 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Although this hasn't been measured, we could hypothesize that it might grow by 10% in the morning, 30% at 5 o'clock p.m., or 20% at 12 or 1 p.m. Additionally, it could be a nice opportunity to squeeze in a bit additional fatty acid oxidation. This isn't small data, which makes it crazy. Big data is what this is. For example, it is well known that caffeine causes fat oxidation. Join our diabetes health community and take control of your health with confidence. By hitting subscribe and like, you'll receive daily, easy-to-follow health solutions focused on blood sugar control, healthy habits, and long-term wellness. Stay informed, stay empowered, and move toward a healthier, more balanced life, one smart step at a time. One effective fat burner is caffeine. How do we balance this then? How to use this, what I've tried. There are a few things to consider. Alright, this is what I did. After around 3 days, tolerance to caffeine increases. Alright, so you'll notice that after about 3 days, if you started consuming coffee around 12 or 1 p.m., you'll feel like you'll need it at that point. And that's where an issue is likely to arise. 1 or 2 days a week, and never on consecutive days, I would advise you to take your caffeine in the middle of the day before engaging in physical activity or working out. Alright? Theoretically, if you took caffeine every other day in the morning, you wouldn't develop as big of a tolerance as if you took it daily. In fact, there is information that suggests you can sort of reset that tolerance and get rid of the withdrawals by going without caffeine for 3 to 5 days. Those is what I would recommend in those situations. The drawback of that is that caffeine will have a greater effect when taken in moderation. Correct? Therefore, if you consume coffee at noon 1 day a week, you will likely have more energy in the afternoon and may find it more difficult to go asleep. I've experimented with this and decided to try a midday or possibly lunchtime session, which will be my more fat-focused, fat-burning activity. Therefore, it could be less strenuous. Perhaps take a stroll or a leisurely jog. Even if I dislike doing out in the middle of the day, I always want to give it a try if it keeps me in shape. I'm going to mix my coffee with apigenin. While apigenin does not significantly impede the benefits of coffee on fat loss, it does lessen some of the physical energy that comes with it by blocking the calcium ions and calcium influx into the cell. Because you still have cyclic adenosine monophosphate, you will still experience some fatty acid oxidation even if you don't get the pre-workout boost you were hoping for from coffee. There is still a significant rise taking place there. Simply altering a portion of the calcium influx results in an excitatory response. You're shaky because of that. That could be the cause of your restlessness. We might potentially quadruple our fat reduction by doing this, isn't that right? However, that does not imply that you will burn as much energy and lose as much weight, does it? Double the weight. It just indicates a slight increase in fat oxidation. You have a responsibility to yourself to say, okay, I'm not going to go do anaerobic type work. After drinking this coffee, I'm going to take a stroll, jog slowly, or do something similar. The data is fairly compelling, so it's worth a try. Again, we are aware of the benefits of coffee for weight loss. Therefore, if we can schedule it, we don't want to interfere with our sleep. Thus, experiment with apigenin and any of these other substances that can somewhat counteract some of the effects of caffeine. There are others, such as theine and apaginine. I've also made other videos about that. As always, stay tuned to my channel. Tomorrow, I'll see you.